Welcome back, everybody, to the Transfer Portal podcast presented by No Context Football. College football is almost here. I'm Adam. I'm joined by both Andrew Wilson, and Andrew D. How y'all doing today?
Doing pretty well.
I'm doing better than Andrew's hair right now, that's for sure.
Okay, so we're gonna just start this early.
They kind of look like Baker Mayfield.
I got that yesterday. I also got Zach Wilson. I take those both as compliments because those are both multimillionaires.
You look like Baker Mayfield if you were still a sophomore in college. Nah, high school.
Texas Tech Baker Mayfield.
High school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the first time I've ever heard I look younger than what I am. So
I do like the stash. I see you got the stash coming in nicely. It's getting there.
I'm trying. It's not doing too well, but it's on. It's getting there. It's getting there.
All right. So today we're gonna do this spin the wheel. We have some questions and pick some of y'all's and we're gonna answer them.
Yeah, we got 3 questions from other members of the transfer portal and 3, I believe, from Twitter. So hopefully this doesn't go awry. And I will say, you can probably see one question on there. I did not make it. That was actually presented on Twitter. So don't blame me if this one pops up.
Are you going to be unbiased?
I'm ready to go all in on that question, by the way.
My answer might surprise people. Let's just get this first one underway. Knowing us, it's okay.
If you could
only play 3 schools every year, who would they be? So with the ACC schedule change or the no more divisions, who do you need to play every year? Which 3 schools?
I think me and Adam, we got to provide 2 schools for each of us, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead with Houston, Texas, Wisconsin.
Is this conference specific or can it be any school?
It can be anybody.
I think it's anybody, really. Because let's be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, Notre Dame plays a bunch of teams that are not, obviously they have no conference, affiliation other than, kind of ACC. But, I mean, they still play Stanford every year.
True. So I guess I'll start. I'll start with Texas. You have to play Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. I would love to play Texas A&M every year just because I think we're better than them. And I would say the last one is LSU. If I could pick, it'd be LSU because the Louisiana, Texas, Andrew, you probably don't know this, but it's a big rivalry between Louisiana and Texas.
Yeah, we know that.
Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, we don't like
Wilson.
I know a little bit, but I'm also stuck in the north.
Yeah,
so
we fight over crawfish every spring, to be honest.
It's been like that since Katrina, honestly. So I'll say LSU for Texas. And then for Houston, I'm sure SMU have to play, Houston versus Dallas rivalry. You got to play SMU. Cincinnati, because I think that they're the best program over the years. And honestly, probably either Texas A&M or Texas. You want to get a big school in there. You could upset. And
here's the thing: do we still put? I'm not saying that they are or are not on my top 3 for Houston once I get up there, but does the SMU and Cincy does that change once we go into Big 12?
No, I think Houston should play SMU.
Well, that's right. Cincy, they're going Big 12 too. So
yeah, I think Houston should play SMU every year, no matter what.
All right, so let's start off with Wisconsin. Let's start with 2 obvious ones. Let's go with Iowa and Minnesota, just because those are big. Those are the 2 big trophy games. The 2 biggest rivals for Wisconsin. Even though I hate the East-West division setup, I still think you got to play them every year. For the 3rd one, part of me wants to say Nebraska just because that's almost a free win for us every year. But to be honest, the Freedom Trophy is the most useless trophy I think I've ever seen in a college football series. I think I would like to see Wisconsin play Michigan every year, just because I don't think they play each other enough. They definitely have not. I'd say maybe prior to the 4 years, the 10 years before the last 4 years, I don't think they played each other enough. I think that they provide us a lot of good games. It's been relatively even ever since Harbaugh and Chris took the helms at their head coaching positions. And also, it's a battle like Michigan. I would love to play Michigan as much as possible. In fact, if they ever played each other in a Big Ten title game, I would probably, I would probably love it. For Houston, I think I might take a little different approach than what Adam's taken. I think SMU has to be there. I-45, we hate Dallas. That's got to work. For the second one, I think I just got to put Rice in there, to be honest with you. And look, I'm not saying like I know I'm very vocal about Rice, but to be honest, it's just a city rivalry. It's still a Bayou bucket game. It still means a lot. The students, they don't like each other. The teams obviously still don't like each other. And also, if we didn't get that game last year, we wouldn't have gotten that legendary pick of Dana Holgerson sitting by his pool with a cigar and the Bayou bucket. We got to have that. And for the third one, I would just love to see Houston play a team that, is not in their conference. I would love to see them play Texas A&M, to be honest. Battle of Highway 6, I guess. I mean, Battle of 290. No, that's more Austin. But I think it's really important for Houston to start playing some of these bigger Texas schools. I would love to see them play A&M. There's a lot of Houston connections in College Station, with it only being an hour and a half drive. It would be really, really good boost for both schools. If Houston was to go to Kyle Field, you would see a lot of people who may live in Houston but have a kid that go to A&M. They'd probably travel up there for that. And it could be the same way both sides, even A&M students visiting Houston whenever those two. I think A&M would be a fantastic series if Houston ever decided to schedule it.
So you both say SMU and you both kind of say A&M because Adam said Texas or Texas A&M. But yeah, moving on to my school, Minnesota, me and Andrew actually have the same opponents per se, because obviously I can't play myself. So I'm going to take Wisconsin and Iowa. Those are the two massive trophy games. And I'm also going to take Michigan, Little Brown Jug. We don't play for it enough. I've heard some people say, oh, Minnesota should play Nebraska. Why the heck should we play Nebraska? You want us to play for the $5 bits of broken chair trophy? Come on.
Do y'all have a trophy game with Penn State? I think you guys do.
Victory Bell.
That's just such, I'm sorry, but a Pennsylvania-Minnesota rivalry just doesn't make
sense.
It does.
I'm confused. Is every game in the Big Ten a trophy game?
No, only, I don't know. It's so weird. It really is. I think it's really screwed up. Like, I think Wisconsin, I think Wisconsin should have a trophy with Michigan, to be honest with you. I don't know why they don't.
I feel like every game y'all named, you named a trophy.
I feel like once Nebraska, I don't know how old that $5 bits of chair thing is.
It's super recent.
So literally, so Big Ten's they're just trying to force a rivalry with Nebraska down everyone's throat, to be honest with you.
I guess for money, or they do anything for money.
Well, I mean, I will say it's an awful looking trophy, but proceeds go to charity. So I'm not going to bash it because it's already broken. And with that being said, I'm going to quickly move on to the next spin. Let's see what we get. A lot of good questions on here. I think it's going to land on, if you could bring back one player or coach for your team, who would it be? Andrew, we'll start with you on this one. Who are you bringing back for? I guess you can do Houston and Wisconsin if you want.
For Wisconsin, I think it's the obvious is Russell Wilson. For the amount of talented running backs that we have, I just don't think any of them make a big enough difference to replace Braylon Allen. Russell Wilson, I mean, I would take Russell Wilson on one working ACL over Graham Mertz, to be honest with you. It's honestly gotten that bad. I would also love to see them bring back Nick Toon, because I think they kind of need a dominant receiver. We haven't had a big receiver probably since him, to be honest, or Jared Abbrederis. So I think I'd probably say Russell Wilson first, Nick Toon second. For Houston, this is tough because this is just honestly the most complete Houston team going into this season that I can remember. Probably more. I think it's more complete than 2015. I think it's more complete than 2011. Because like I really love Marquez Stevenson when he played for us, but like he's not overtaking Dell. I don't think, as much as I love Case and he's obviously got all the records, I don't think replacing Clayton Tune with him really does elevate it that much. It's actually hard. It's tough. I think I'd go with Ed Oliver, to be honest with you. And the reason why I'm going with Ed Oliver, and I know it's Sack Ave, I know they were like top 3 in the country in sacks last season, but I think the reason why I'm going Ed Oliver is because there's already enough talented guys on that defensive line that it would just make it impossible to double team anybody. I think DeAnthony Jones, transfer portal podcast guest legend, by the way, I think he will start seeing some double teams going into the season. I think once you add Ed Oliver into the mix, and Ed Oliver, Latrell Bankston, I'm trying to think of that one defensive tackle, Chidozie and Wakwo, or however you say his name. I think it's just way too indefensible.
All right, Adam, you agreeing with that, or are you going somewhere else with Houston?
I'm going somewhere else. I think we're good on offensive line. I agree with Andrew that we're good on the whole offensive side of football. Defensive line, I think we're good. I think I'm gonna go with William Jackson the third. I think we lost Marcus Jones. We need a corner. I want Willow Jackson back. He was electric. He can return. I think he ran like a 4.344 or something like that. Fast, tall, big corner. First round draft pick. That's what I'm going with on that side.
I think a healthy DJ Hayden would be a good shot too.
I was trying to decide between Jackson and Hayden, but I think Jackson's a little more versatile.
I think Jackson. I think he's like I know Hayden had a lot of like health issues like when he was younger. Mm-hmm. So I do think Jackson. I think he does bring a little bit more stability in terms of health.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with him. And then for Texas, it's easy to just pick Vince Young, but I'm gonna go with Mac Brown. I think Texas' problem over the last 10 years, really since Mac Brown left, is we can't develop talent. That's something that he did really well at Texas. His problem was he stopped caring about recruiting. He let a lot of recruits get out of Texas and, started falling off. So we got a really good recruiting class. We got 2 really good quarterbacks. Bring in Mac Brown, help them develop, and then maybe we're already back, but maybe we'll be really back after that. So
yeah, that would be
William Jackson.
That would be pretty fun to watch Mac Brown coach Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning upcoming. But for Minnesota, it's tough for me because, man, we've had some awful teams over the years that just nothing you can salvage. I know the heck I'm not taking Brewster. I would probably, this is going to sound a little recency bias, I would probably take Rashad Bateman, just have another playmaker on the outside. Helps make Tanner Morgan look a little bit better with Kirk Shiraka being back. Has a dynamic separator, so you can have Chris Amon-Bell, probably play the Z spot, and then I don't know who would be, or actually he would probably be in the slot, and then have Dalen Wright on the outside. But just more offensive weapons, please. I don't want to see my team score 10 points against a MAC team again.
Surprised you didn't go with Mitch Leidner.
I mean, I could have, but I don't know. I feel like
is he honestly better than Tanner Morgan? Honest question.
Current Tanner Morgan, yes. 2019 Tanner Morgan, no.
I will never forget. Tom McShay once admitted that he once had Mitch Leidner as a first round pick before even watching any tape on him.
That's funny. Yeah, just if I could
bring
back,
you sure you don't want Tracy
Tanner,
Claeys back as head coach?
I ought to kick you from this call, which I can't because I'm not the host. You are, so to no avail. Next question we go. Yeah, I'm taking Rashad Bateman. Okay, this is an interesting one. Which coach in the country would you not let babysit your children?
It's pretty obvious.
I got my answer.
I think the sad part is I think I got my first one already off the bat.
Go ahead, Andrew. What is it?
I think I'm going to go with Dabo Swinney, to be honest with you. I mean, Christ above. I mean, would you let a QAnon person to babysit your kids? I sure as hell would not. And I think I'm pretty sure that's what Dabo Swinney is behind the curtains, to be honest. I'm trying to think of a couple shots. I think. Could you imagine? Like, I'm not trying to diss Minnesota when I say that. I really am not. But could you just imagine PJ Fleck babysitting your coach? He would babysitting your kid. Like, he would literally just like try to motivate it to crawl across the living room as fast as it could. That would
I feel like
just
that's a
be
good
it.
thing.
Maybe not if the kid's only like a couple months old.
Hey, you got to work hard to get, ready for college football.
But I think Dabo Swinney is going to be my number one answer.
Mine is gonna be Brian Kelly. He
He
just he just seems like a weird dude. I don't know.
I mean, depending on how he kind of, has killed a kid too. So
Yeah, and the whole accent thing and it should be executed. The whole thing is, he can stay away from my kids.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an answer better than Brian Kelly, to be honest. I'm trying to think of someone who's like really stupid and really young, who's like not old enough to have kids.
Rhett Lashley. Part of me was thinking him, to be honest with you.
I might go Lashley. Because
Here's
I don't want to just
the first phrase that came to my mind when that question came up was, which coach is most likely to drop the ball? And for some reason, Rhett Lashley was the first name that came to my mind when I thought that. There's two ways you can do this. Who do you trust least to hold the kid, and who do you think is the worst influence?
See, if they're there for like a few hours, I'm not too worried about an awful influence because you can parent that out of a kid. You can parent a few hours out. Whereas if you like drop the kid, we've got a problem. I think I'm gonna go.
I can't imagine you coming back home and your kids cussing or something like that. This be so hilarious.
That one defensive line coach for Texas, the one that went on that rant last year.
Oh, they deserve that. They were bad.
Ooh, actually, shoot. What's his name? Adam. I'm sorry. The pole monkey. What's that coach?
Oh, the one with the wife, the stripper wife.
Yes.
I forgot his name.
You stay the heck away from my kids.
He seemed like a good dude, have fun.
Wasn't that the wide receivers coach for Texas, I think?
I don't even remember.
Special teams.
It might have been special teams.
Whoever that was, I'm filing a restraining order. All right. You think we got time for one more of these?
Yeah, we can do another one.
We could probably do like two more, to be honest. We're only in like 20
rock
minutes.
and roll.
He wants that Minnesota one. And he got it.
Yeah,
right.
You're going first on this one because I'm
from
just gonna
Joe Broback on Twitter. Thank you for the question, and thank you for having it not be me to bring up the Golden Gophers. I think the team definitely lost talent over this last year. I mean, they lost 4 of their 5 offensive line starters. They lost their best pass rusher. But the reason I still think they can win it is because they have an awful schedule. I mean, their 3 non-conference games are New Mexico State, Western Illinois, and Colorado. That is one of the worst teams in the FBS, an FCS team, and in my opinion, the worst team in the Power 5. That should be 3 wins with a score differential of over 100. Your toughest games, you've got Michigan State, you've got Penn State. I think Michigan State takes a small step back. They're not going to be as much as they were last year. Penn State, not going to trust them until I see Clifford, be really good. And then you've got the trophy games between the other 2 teams. My prediction is they split the games against the state colleges. They split the trophy games, and then they're going to lose a game that they really shouldn't. Like they'll lose to Purdue on homecoming, or they'll lose to Illinois because Brett Bielema has never lost to Minnesota, which is sad as it is true. 9-3, is that enough to win? Depends on what Wisconsin does, because I don't think Iowa's really in contention this year.
Okay, if you want me to be wholeheartedly honest with you, and this is me being like just straight up honest, the 2 best opportunities that Minnesota had to was the question just to win the Big Ten West. Was that the
Big Ten West?
If that's the focus, they had 2 main opportunities. That was 2019 and that was 2021.
Yeah.
What was the biggest? You tell me. What was the biggest reason why Minnesota did not make it to the Big Ten title game last season? Because I
They
remember
lost to Illinois.
that was it. But like, there was something else. Like, I thought it was because
Oh, because Nebraska couldn't hold a 21-point lead against Iowa.
that's why. There you go. Because I
Screw
knew going
you.
in. I knew it was going. So like, here's the thing, and obviously I'm saying this with wholehearted honesty. Minnesota just has to. They just need to have years where they have Wisconsin and Iowa's number. They did not have. Correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all did not have Iowa's number last season,
We haven't had Iowa's number for the last like 7 years.
and y'all did not have our number in 2019. That was the night. That was the main thing. It's just that Minnesota. They need a stars to align type
Yeah.
season. That's honestly what they need because wholeheartedly they've struggled to defend against Wisconsin running backs. That's been their main thing. I don't know what y'all's main struggle is against Iowa, but in all honesty, from what I see from Minnesota, is they realistically they should have the most explosive offense in the Big Ten West, maybe only behind Purdue. Because listen, like I think Dylan Wright, I think he's going to have a better season this upcoming season than what he did last year because he was on fire against Ohio State in that game. I don't know what happened the rest of the way. They have the tools and they can string games in enough to the point where they can win. But like it's always just a couple stupid losses that they have, or they just cannot finish against Wisconsin that has costed them opportunities to reach the Big Ten title game. And I just feel like last season and 2019 were the most star aligning seasons for them, and they still couldn't do it. I just legit don't know if they're ever going to reach that Big Ten title game. And even with USC and UCLA, I don't know how they're going to realign the conferences. That's only going to make it harder for them.
Oh, 100%.
I think they have a shot. Honestly, I do. I think because Iowa, correct me if I'm wrong, they have Michigan and Ohio State, right, this year.
I believe so.
So I don't see them beating both of them. Iowa could easily lose to Wisconsin. So that's 3 losses that you can already.
But then where does
pencil in,
Wisconsin
kinda.
come into play? Because now it's because here's the thing: Wisconsin, they get the notion of like, oh, they're super consistent. They have not been that consistent. I'd probably say since 2018. You know, that's the
Where
thing.
here's my thing: if Iowa beats Wisconsin, then Wisconsin has Ohio State too, right?
Yeah, we play them in
So-
that literally our first conference game in September, actually.
Yeah, so that could be 2 losses for Wisconsin. Like Wilson said, Minnesota, they don't have Ohio State, they don't have Michigan. Do they have Michigan State? I don't.
We have Michigan State and Penn
They
State.
do have Michigan State. Penn State, I don't think you have to worry about them.
What's y'all's record against Nebraska over the last couple of years?
I believe we've only lost once since Scott Frost has been there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you can based on the schedule. I think they got a shot because I think Iowa's going to lose to both
Wisconsin's got
Michigan
Michigan
and
State
Ohio
too
State
this season, actually.
They do. So
I don't think Michigan State's going to be that good.
I think they're going to be a tricky. I think they're going to be a tricky. First of all,
this is a tricky game.
Their pass defense, first of all, just cannot get any worse than last season. That's the main thing. But then it kind of is like, which Peyton Thorne are we getting this season? I think Peyton Thorne has had a few games where he's actually looked good, and I thought he's had a few games where I thought he was below average. It's kind of crazy. I think Michigan State, they're probably gonna have a lot to do with how the Big Ten West folds up this season, and I just think I don't know. I think it just depends. I just think that trio of Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, like it's literally who wins 2 out of the 3 games, and that's who you're most likely going to see make it out into that Big Ten title game.
Yeah, and they have Minnesota has Iowa at home too. So
yeah,
I like the
if
chances.
we don't beat Iowa this year, I don't have hope. This is our best chance to beat Iowa. Iowa's down. We have much better opportunities. We have a decent amount of talent returning. If we can find the offensive line and Mo can stay healthy, we can beat Iowa. There's no doubt in my mind. It's just if we can't, then we got to change something drastically.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right. And that's enough Minnesota talk for the podcast. So we'll do one more of these questions. Okay. And speaking of Nebraska, which program will be the next Nebraska? Or actually, shoot, it's the wrong question. Well, that sucks for me. Which program will become the face of the Big 12 from Coach Cooper? Let's start with our Big 12 representative, Adam.
I'm assuming this is after when Texas and Oklahoma leaves.
Yes.
I think it's going to be Baylor for football, at least. I think they have the most consistent program besides that whole. We're not going to talk about what happened, but y'all know. But they're the most consistent program. They're this third biggest school as far as branding wise in Texas goes. You see Baylor gear wherever you go. You'll see some Baylor stuff. I like what they're doing. Have a really good coach. They can hold on to them. I think, I'm gonna have to say Baylor. In basketball, you know who it's gonna be, University of Houston. But
I mean,
football,
Baylor did just win a national title.
No.
All right,
Yeah,
Andrew.
This is actually a really interesting question because I think we got to look at the root of this. I think we have to look at, once UCF, Cincy, and BYU, once they all go into the mix, how does this affect recruiting in the state of Texas? Now that is no longer in the AAC, how does this affect the recruiting as a Big 12 school now, as a Power 5? We're so used to seeing Houston products go to the likes of A&M, maybe a little bit of Texas. We've had a couple players that had offers to TCU and Baylor, and they chose over those other schools. I think they did that knowing that they were going to be in the big conference next year. I would like to believe that Houston can be that next team to be the face of the conference. I don't think we're going to see that, I'd say, within the first 2 to 3 seasons, as biased as I'd like to be. Here's the thing with Baylor. I just don't know how long Aranda's going to be there. And once he's gone, I think we're going to start seeing Baylor of 5-7 and 6-6. I don't think we're getting the same Baylor that we're used to. But if I had to take a guess, I'm like, who's going to be the first conference winner in 2025 once Texas and Oklahoma are out? Here's the thing. I don't think there is going to be such thing as a face of the Big 12, to be honest with you. I just think it's just going to be a branding battle, to be honest with you. And I think with it being a city and not just a state, I think can actually influence a lot of branding, especially within the city. I think there's going to be a lot more city support once they get into the Big 12, and I think that's obvious. But here's the thing: Baylor and TCU. I don't think TCU is getting enough shout in this. I mean, they haven't been that good. But now that Sonny Dykes is going over there from SMU, how does that affect? They got the money. They private school. They got all the funding they can to up their class. Oklahoma State, we can't forget about them. I think the Big 12, while it may not have the same, strength per se as the SEC and Big 10, I think it's going to have the highest parity. To be honest with you, I think we could see 4 different winners in the first 5 years of the new Big 12. Also, another thing we got to consider is what's going on with the Pac-12. Who's coming over here? Can Utah come over? Can Arizona State come over? Apparently Oregon don't want to go to the Big 10. Apparently now they want to go to the Big 12. So now we got to look at where do these other puzzle pieces fall together.
Yeah. You can't really look at. I wasn't really looking at what the Pac-12 schools, but I will say TCU is a tricky one as well, because what Sonny Dykes was able to do at SMU, in the Dallas area, he kind of changed how the city of Dallas views SMU. He tried to change that as a stuck-up private school and more, for Dallas, kind of like what Houston is doing, what UH is doing in Houston. He's trying to do that in Dallas. Well, he did do that in Dallas for SMU, so he's going to carry. If he can carry that into the Big 12 at TCU, it could catapult them to, bigger heights.
So I'm going to go a little off the radar. Obviously, we have one for Baylor, one for Houston / parity. While I do believe we're going to have a lot of craziness happen in the Big 12, whatever happens with the Pac-12, I'm not going to talk about them. I'm going to talk about a certain team from Lubbock. Texas Tech
God's sake.
with Joey McGuire. They're recruiting right now. This is the best I've seen Texas Tech recruit in a while. I think that once you get rid of the competition, Texas and Oklahoma, you're going to have a lot more say in the Big 12 when it comes to the state. Because I agree with Andrew. I don't think Aranda's going to stay for too long. I think he's going to use this like, hey, this is what I can do. And then when a high profile job opens up, he's gone. Like I'm surprised he didn't dash this last offseason. If there is going to be a program that makes the jump, I don't think it's Oklahoma State. No offense. I just don't think Mike Gundy is capable of coaching a team to a Big 12 championship / staying there consistently. Dave Aranda, I think he's gone. I want to see product from TCU first before I gauge anything. Houston, I know what they're capable of. They're very good. It's probably between them and Texas Tech for me. I can't really see anything from who else would be there. BYU, I can't trust right now. Cincinnati, I like Luke Fickell, but this is a little different. Don't even talk about Kansas.
I know Ryan Day literally just signed an extension, but he's probably for Ryan Day to hit to jump as soon as he can.
The thing is, where would Ryan Day jump to? The NFL?
I think so. I think he'd get there eventually.
The thing is, would he want
at the end of the day, only so many big time coaches in college can make that jump to the NFL. Why not him?
Yeah, there were those rumors this last offseason about he was possibly in the rumor for Chicago's job, the Bears, not Loyola. I just don't know. I think Ohio State's like that high profile of a job. If he got the offer, I'm sure he would definitely consider it. But I think there's also a coach in Ohio State's room that could kind of contend for it. We know Luke Fickell, what he's done, but there's a certain
here's my only bash on Tech. You're saying that you can't trust Oklahoma State. You say you can't trust BYU. Given all that, why are you still trusting Texas Tech?
Because
I you said Joey McGuire, but like at the end of the day, if he's that good, then why would he stay in Lubbock for that long? And also, trying to convince teenagers to move to Lubbock, Texas. Good luck with that for 4 years.
I will say I've never been to the state of Texas. How are the other how's Waco? Or
Waco's not good, but Waco is an hour from Dallas and an hour from Austin. So location wise, in the middle of Lubbock is like 7 hours from Dallas.
If you live in Waco, your biggest bragging right there is that you live close to Dallas and that you live close to Austin.
And you're in the same city as Fixer Upper.
Yeah,
I like that show.
David.
That's all I can think of when I think of Waco.
The thing that Baylor has is they can recruit those Dallas kids that you can stay close to home, but you're not at home.
And here's the good thing about Baylor University, just to defend them a little bit. Going to Baylor is not the same as going to Waco.
It is not.
Baylor's too nice of a school.
Baylor spends a lot of money on their athletics, and Lubbock is 7. It's a 6-7 hour drive.
It's a 7-hour drive from Dallas. I think from Houston, it's 10 hours.
Yeah, of nothing.
Man, Texas is big. I can drive across the state in 2 hours.
Dallas is 4 hours.
My gosh. All right. Do we want to do this last one, or is this?
Let's just do the last one. Let's just make it a quick fire. Do it while I look up the season schedule.
Well, I also have it on the stream that we can look through. Pick one week 1 upsets. This is via, I believe, CFB Talk Daily. And it is. I'm correct. I'm going to take mine right now. I'm going to take West Virginia over Pitt. I think Pitt had so much talent lost. They've lost their quarterback. I understand they have Keaton Slovis, but there's going to be a drop-off. They lost one of the best wide receivers in college football. They lost their offensive coordinator. They lost their best corner. West Virginia also just got a really talented quarterback. Now, if he can stay healthy, that's a different situation. But with Pitt, I don't know. I feel like we're kind of overvaluing them for seeing that they just lost the 3 biggest reasons that they were good last year: their offensive coordinator, their quarterback, and their wide receiver. They have none of those now. They all downgraded at every other position. I don't know if they're going to be able to contend in the ACC like they did last year. In fact, I know for a fact they're not going to be able to. I don't understand the people that think, oh, Pitt, they can go back to back. Heck, freaking no. And I like what West Virginia has kind of done. JT Daniels is a good enough quarterback where I think he'll be able to outsling other former USC Trojan, Keaton Slovis. I like West Virginia here. I believe they're somewhere close to 6-point underdogs. I feel like that's too much. It should be closer to 3, if not closer to pick them.
I'm going to go with Utah at Florida. Maybe a bit of a homer pick because one of my friends, he's a DB coach at Florida, but yeah, I kind of like what they're doing. They're going to be at home. So, and they got something to prove. It's going to be on ESPN's prime time. So I'm going to go with Utah at Florida. I think Florida is only like a 4-point underdog, maybe 3. So it's not that big of an upset, I guess. But being an underdog at home, that's not very good. So I'm going to go with Florida on that one.
I'm going to stay in the Big Ten, and I am going to go with Purdue over Penn State. Shout out, Dave. We'll see how that goes. Right now, Penn State's only a 3.5 favorite at Ross-Ade Stadium. I think we got to look out for Milton Wright. With David Bell not being there no more, we got to see who steps up for Purdue. They've had Rondale Moore, they've had David Bell. And I think it's just only a matter of time until we see another Purdue wide receiver comes up. I think Milton Wright's going to be that guy. I think if you were to ask me who do I think the best quarterback in the Big Ten West is, I'm probably going to go with Aiden O'Connell. I don't know how good Casey Thompson's going to be at Nebraska. I don't know if Graham's going to take that extra step, and we don't know which Tanner Morgan's going to step up. While Aiden O'Connell is a little turnover prone, I do think he has the best ability in terms of creating explosive plays that'll take over the top for Penn State, expose that Penn State backline a little bit. I think Purdue, they have a lot going for them. They probably deserve a little bit more hype in terms of, can they win the Big Ten West? I think they're pretty underrated.
Yeah, you hit a spot on. Aiden O'Connell's the best quarterback in the West. People are going to say, oh, Casey Thompson. Outside of the Oklahoma game, I looked. Casey Thompson was not that good. Like, he had games. I want to say it was Iowa State. My gosh, he sucked. My gosh.
Adam. I can speak on him. He was good, and for that those first 15 to 20 scripted plays that you have, Casey Thompson was like the best quarterback in the country.
I think that Oklahoma State game is pretty symbolic of who he is, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I remember being at that game. He started off hot against Oklahoma State, and then literally during the middle of that second half, I think he threw 3 picks, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, after those scripted plays where you pretty much know what you're gonna do, when it's time to read a defense, he kind of falls apart. But he has all the talent. I mean, I like him. I'm rooting for him.
And what I'll say, I'll trust scripted plays from Steve Sarkisian, from Scott Frost.
True. It's a little different. So well. It's a little different. You got Bijan and Xavier.
Another thing I'll say, I want to say I looked this up. I believe he only played about 1, maybe 2 top 20, 25 defenses. There's possibly 3 in his division. Because Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Wisconsin will probably be close to 1.
Arkansas wasn't bad. He started against Arkansas. I
only looked at games where he played most of the snaps at quarterback. So I think Kansas State was up there, which kind of surprised me. But
Oklahoma State has to be up there.
Yeah, it was Oklahoma State was the for sure one. I couldn't remember if Kansas State was
Baylor up there too. I think he started against Baylor.
I honestly can't remember. It was low, but
yeah, I mean it's a Big 12, so
yeah, it's Big 12. You're there for offense. If you're there for defense, turn the channel.
I don't care about that. Score some points.
That's why they call it the Red River Shootout. It's a shootout for a reason. And I think that's a pretty good place to end it. Appreciate everyone for listening, watching. If you're on the YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. If you're on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, follow, do everything that everybody else tells you to, because we really appreciate it. Follow T-Portal CFB on Twitter for the best college football content going into the year. We're going to be releasing some previews soon because we're almost there. There's almost games. We're getting ready for Dublin, Ireland, Northwestern, Nebraska. That game's going to suck, but guess who's watching? All three of us.
Yes.
Thank you for watching. Everybody have a great day.
Peace.